The other thing that I wanted to talk about, and you can kind of put that in this area, the type of paper that you're working on. So I'm going to put type of paper. And I have been working on this vellum coated paper, and we've seen vellum coated mixed media. Works good. But then I went to this Mead drawing paper. I'm going to skip this because it's already contaminated. Let's draw a circle here using my R2 pen. Let's do this sketchier. Get lots of ink in there. Draw the circle. Put lots of ink on this. This is the drawing paper. Put a spritz. Oh, let's just spritz it. You get the flow, but you do not get this nice flow that you would get. Let me just draw in here. This is the vellum coated paper. Put a sketch there. This is a little bit smaller, but let me spritz this. See that immediately got a nice flow of ink. You get something here, another light tone, but that paper seems to drink it in. This is a coated paper, and it lets it flow. I'm going to blot this just so I don't get a lot of ink on my page. So 2, I'll just put sketch paper. I'm going to put not coated. Does not work well. So then I thought, well, how does watercolor work? I use watercolor a lot when I'm out sketching. How does it work? So let's pull one out here. This is Strathmore's 140-pound watercolor paper. It's cold press. Get this almost anywhere, your fine art stores, your drawing stores, your craft stores. Let's do the same technique. Draw the circle here. I'll put YT for YouTube so that I know I did it in this demo. Give me a nice black line here. Spritz it. Yes, I get what I want. I get what I'm expecting. I'm going to blot it off so that I don't smear it. So 3 watercolor paper. Works good. Copy paper, I don't know, I haven't tested it. But basically what I'm saying is, not only is it the pen that you're using and the type of ink that's in that pen, whether it's water soluble or permanent or cheap ink or a quality ink, but it's also the type of paper that you are working on. All of that affects your drawing techniques. There's a lot that goes into a sketch. So copy paper, I'm just going to put untested. I just kind of wanted to review that. I've already shown you some blot techniques, and I've shown that here on this heart. That's a fun technique to do, but the point is, you can do it with your R2 pen if you're out sketching. That's the whole point of this. So then I thought, well, what happens if you want to write? And I'm gonna write the Meri Atelier here. And I'm gonna scribble write it. I'm scribbling writing it because I want to get a lot of ink on the page. And that's something to consider when you're writing. The Meri Atelier. A-T-E-L-I-E-R. R. I think that's good enough. And let's print it here. I can see this pen is getting a little dry. Let's, for the fun of it, just for the fun of it, let's break out a new one. Since I've got this here and they only cost $1. And I get 2 of them, so it really, one pen only cost me 50 cents. Let's just break one out, and I'll still use that other one because it's still got good ink in it. Let's just pull one out here. Go over this again. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit better flow here. Hey, give it a break. That was a pen I'd already been using, and I've done 3 demos with it. It's served its purpose for 50 cents. I think I'm good here. I'll just put a little bit more ink in here since I got a new pen. Okay, what I wanted to show here with the writing was 2 techniques with this. You can, again, spritz it, and you get that uncontrolled bleed. You may not want that. I mean, it's fun. If you let it dry, you get a lot of values in there. I'm just going to blot it. You get some values in there. That's okay. That's all right. In fact, I did that. See, I did that over here. Got some values on there. That was fun. Here's the one that I did in my prep work. I like that a lot. To achieve that, what I did was I created my wet palette, took my brush, and I think I'll use this small brush again, wet it, and do this controlled bleed. And you can almost do a shadow on your lettering. Create a shadow. You've seen lettering with shadows. Just building up some tonal values around each letter. Or you can just spritz it and let the tone go in the background. Just different techniques. So I'm going to put writing. I'll put wet palette. I'm going to draw a circle here. I'm going to put spritz. And then controlled bleed. And I'll put shadow lettering, shadowed writing. Just different techniques. I'm going to blot this. What things where writing doesn't work? Well, I've already shown you cannot write in a wet puddle of water. Doesn't work with this. Cannot write very well on plastic. Wax paper, you can't write on it. Now, I haven't tried it with canvas or cloth. We discussed that on the live demo on the Facebook group, and we thought, well, maybe if you primed your canvas or you have a really close weave, a high count of fabric, might work. The other thing, which is fun to do, and I'm going to take this paint, this is a craft paint. It's a white, just plain white craft paint. So how does it work writing on over craft paint? If I wanted to write, we know that it writes on paper. Writes on dry paper, fine. And you know, that's a point. Writes on dry paper. If you're out doing urban sketching and you want a journal, you can, but the point is, this will blot if you get it wet. So, just something to consider. You might want to put a fixative over it if you really want to use this pen, this Ink R2 pen to journal with. I'm just smearing this craft paint on here. And I imagine this same thing would work for gesso. Now I got white fingertips. Let's dry this. Let's write on here. It's dry. Let's Meri. Oh, now see, this is, you might want to let it dry. It writes on it. Let's do here. It's still wet in there. You want it to dry completely. Meri Atelier. Now I do notice on here, let's put on craft paint. Damp paint. Not so good. Dry paint. Works up, it works. And I do notice if I have a thick application of paint, I smooth that down quite a bit. You have a thick application of paint. You're going to scratch through it with your pen. Your pen will just naturally go into that, and you might even see some of that, especially doing a craft paint, peel off. I saw that happen a little bit in there. Scratchy on thick paint. There's an ink pen sold out on the market called football pens, and I purchased them a couple times because I wanted to try them. They are sold as pens that will basically work on a majority of surfaces. I never tried on a wax surface, but over acrylic, over, just over your gel mediums, over everything. They're called football pens with an F. F-U-D-E. I think they were first manufactured over in Japan. But I have to be honest. I think these Ink R2 pens, comparing them to what I remember of the football pens, I think these R2 pens are very similar in nature, especially when you have the 0.7 tip. Those football pens have a large tip on them. And I think that makes a lot of difference when you're working on different areas. So I wanted to point that out. So we pretty much covered writing. I'm not going to do it over a gel medium, but I will say that it will work on a gel medium. Will work. And it is easier to remove it if you want to remove it. Because on a gel medium, you have built up a coating on that paper, and you can get a spot of alcohol on that ink, and you can almost wipe it away. But I'm not going to go into that here. I'm just pointing it out.